Good evening, AfterBuzzers. Thanks for joining us. We're talking Stranded with $1 Million, Season 1, Episode 4. It's getting intense. Intense.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Get it like it's intense in the tense? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it did. After I replayed it in my head.
You gonna throw me the money?
Nope, it's mine.
Oh, dang it, you're not gonna share. Okay, so does that mean I don't have to share certain things with you then?
Get out my tent!
Okay, so my biggest question. Should they all have tents or not?
I think if you're gonna brag about how you don't need a tent, then you don't need a tent.
Then you don't need a tent. All right, well, I want to know what you guys think, and you all were pretty vocal after last week's episode. So please continue that and let me know what your thoughts are on everything that we say tonight and whose team you're on. You can follow me on all social media, also at Abigail Fraher.
And I'm Olivia Gabaree. Hit me up on social media, _O_G.
So we had a lot of people in the feed. I just want to touch on this. Obviously taking sides after last week's episode.
Mm-hmm.
One person though, and I can't remember who it was, so whoever you are, please take credit or whatnot, stated everything would kind of be resolved if they had made rules at the beginning of the competition. And I agree with that, where it's like something like there's boundaries, where it's like, okay, if you vote no on something and then you're overruled, then you don't get it. Or, I don't know, because then that's some sort of a guideline, and I like guidelines. And I feel like this whole episode happened because there are no guidelines, really.
Right.
What do you think? Like, do you think that they should have been sharing the tent every location? What's your thought process going into that?
Okay, it would make the most sense if they had guidelines from the beginning, because then, you know, there'd be no arguments.
Right.
However, if there's no arguments and
There's
no entertainment or
Right.
TV show.
Right.
And I kind of like that there's no guidelines, because it's sort of like survival of the fittest. It's what do we have to do in order to benefit ourselves,
Right.
and to make this work. And if that was all determined from the beginning, then everything would go smoothly.
Well, that's like somewhere in here Alex was like, this doesn't follow the rules or something, and I just started cracking up because I was like, what rules? Like, obviously there's basic rules. I'm assuming now, after watching this episode, they can't touch another competitor in an aggressive manner. But other than that, I mean, I think that they're losing sight of the fact that this is a game, and this is a competition, and this is some sort of a strategic thing.
Right.
This is strategy. This isn't let's all hold hands and cross the finish line together.
But that's kind of what
they're turning it
Alex's
into.
team is turning
Right.
into. They're talking so much about, I'm so glad that I have them. We're like
Right.
a family. I want to see us all together in the end. And that's all fine and well, but in my head, I'd be thinking, if you're all in the end with me, that means we're splitting the money.
Well,
I want the money.
And that's right. And again, like, their logic on that, just on that point,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. It's beautiful for the
Kumbaya.
real world, okay?
Yeah.
However, when you combine that philosophy with their actions, they're fools. I really think they're foolish, because they are spending an assload of money.
I agree.
And they're trying to bring as many people to the finish line. And it's like, you know, none of these people are in high school. You know, they're all well enough enabled to know what $1 million is, and they're also very aware of how much they're spending. And honestly, it blows my mind how they're members of society and they still think somehow that they're gonna walk away with money to buy a house.
Right.
After spending all that they're spending, after spending, what, $3,000 on a jar of peanut butter, $3,000 on a freaking cheeseburger, that you think you're going to walk away with money for a house or money for a wedding or honestly anything more than maybe a down payment on a car.
Well, this is what I'm thinking. There's such a long way to go before 40 days is up. And
Right.
if they're consistently going to be going at this rate, they're going to have diddly squat to split at the end. And I'm only thinking as, you know, you're going into the show knowing that it's a survival type show.
Why are you getting burgers?
Exactly. You should know burgers is not really a necessity.
Right.
people survive off of much less, and if you want to have the cushion of burgers and of a ham and cheese sandwich, then the show isn't for you.
Also, too, what was funny is I realized I've never really seen them trying to get food other than ordering food.
I never see any of them eat.
No one's trying to, like, hunt or collect foliage. Like, you know, I don't
see them eating.
that.
I want to see them eat some bugs.
Right, and they're just saying that they're not eating, so it's like, are you starving until you can buy the $3,000 burger?
Exactly.
And that doesn't work.
But
in
I think
mind.
that's how it's been going.
So we see them walking to the next camp, and the first little conundrum was the pot. Who's going to carry the pot? And Makani refused to carry the pot, and Gina was carrying the machete. Mm-hmm. And then Elish, am I saying her name? I feel like I'm always pronouncing her name right.
I think that's correct.
I don't ever want to do that. But Elish is carrying, what was she carrying? Something in one arm.
And well, somebody had the money, and they were making.
That was Makani.
Oh.
She was carrying the money. So everyone's bitching about the pot, and Makani's like, I'm not carrying the pot. Okay, she had both hands free, but she was carrying all that stuff on her back. Okay. Then you have Ela, she was carrying one thing in her hands, and you have Gina, who's just carrying the machete. Mm-hmm. So I get the point of, like, her hands were free to carry the pot. However, she's carrying so much weight on her, and then Gina just has this machete over her shoulder, like, and so then as soon as Makani said, no, I'm not carrying it, everyone was like, well, how dare you say that? And it's like, Gina just said she wasn't going to carry it.
Well, it's way past that at this point. It's not even about who's carrying the pot. It's
about
we don't like you.
Right.
So carry the damn pot.
But, like, and then Makani's like, well, you could just leave the pot here.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're ridiculous. And it's like, Gina, this game's not for her. She's a party girl. She's not a survivor. Right. Of the outdoors. It's just not, it's working. And it's irritating almost. I'm
kind of surprised that she's made it this far. Yeah. Just based on the way she started, wasn't very strong.
No. I do want to know, though, who carried the tent? Do we know who carried the tent?
I think
Alex?
What's his name?
Oh, Alfonso.
Alfonso? That doesn't sound right. What's his name? Right.
This is so good. Alfonso. Alfonso. It's so late. I'm done.
No, I think that
Sorry,
I'm assuming that he was carrying the tent because
I was just wondering.
He was the one that let it down when Makani stole it later
True.
on.
Okay, so let's just jump to that.
Wait, first of all, I'd like to say that this journey seemed a lot easier and simpler than the other.
I think they were taking it easy on them. I think they noticed that they're having a time. Yeah. And I think now it's almost more of, like, not the actual struggle of getting there. It's it's the inner struggle now, I think. So, you know, I think that's what they're going to deal with more. And then we also had a first challenge this episode, too.
Right.
With the water buckets. And question about that. When they had that challenge, which I like that they're now doing challenges. However, why was Alonzo the one that got to, like, say ready, set, go? Like, did you notice how he kind of just, like, took over?
Ready, set, go.
I don't know. I'm just super bitter.
And I'm
because
not
of their hypocrisy.
Sure. Yeah, and their teams. Wait, are we going about the challenge now?
Yes.
Their teams were not. I mean, you had to have known that Gina and Elish were not going to win.
But it's almost like the guys are saying, we know you're going to lose, so you two just stick together.
So
but at the same time, it pissed me off, honestly, to see them just lagging. Like, just swaying their fat asses around, like, slowly.
The water was like
it honestly was so irritating, like slugs. They just acted like these lethargic, pathetic slugs. And it, as a viewer, I'm watching the show because I think that everyone there really wants to win. And in my mind, as you know, I would say a little more competitive than the average person, but even for the average person to sit and watch a show where you have two people who are just so pathetic that they're like, I'm not even going to attempt it. I'm just gonna, you know, screw it. Like, we're just gonna walk.
It's like they knew they were gonna lose, so why try? That's not entertaining,
and that also makes me like, I don't want you to win. Why would I ever support you when you can't even apply yourself to even try. It'd be my opinion of them would be so different if you actually watched them challenge themselves. And they're not challenging themselves. Same way as when they stole the peanut butter. It's like this team is a bunch of rejects. Literally, that's the only thing going through my mind.
Like it is.
They're a bunch of rejects who are bitter that they suck, and then try to like cut the other person off at the knees. Right. And it's like, yeah, great, good for you. At the same token, you know, that is a plan, that is a strategy. Kudos to you for it's just being snakes.
They're milking off of somebody else's.
I like to see two like bullheaded people who really want it going for it rather than people who don't I mean, do you really even want it? And then it's like the only time anyone gets upset is when they're called out on it. And like when Makani called Elish out on you know, spending all that money, like how are you going to get a home for your kids? I'm not saying that that was the right thing to do morally. No, it was messed up. Like you should never you know, you should never aim to hurt somebody. You should never really pick out to wound them. However, at the same time, it's like, really though, how do you think that you're going to get your family out of a trailer?
Well,
if you're spending $3,000, like your family probably rewatching that, like you're spending $3,000 on a burger.
Because if you think about it, that $3,000, that's like rent for in LA. That's rent for like
2 months.
2 months. But wherever she is, I'm sure that rent is much. You know, that could pay a lot more bills.
It's living expenses. It's not a burger. And so to see that attitude and that lackluster, that just wasn't, I didn't
Well, I feel like they're throwing it away at this point. I don't think that they're playing the game to win. They're playing the game to survive. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's good and well that you'll survive till the 40th day, but what do you have to show for yourself once you've gone through it all?
Why? And also on the same token, I want to know, and hopefully we'll be able to ask them these questions. Like, Alex, like, why are you okay with that? Why are you okay with these moochers? Because that's what they are at this point. Those two girls are moochers.
They're surviving off of surviving off of somebody else's.
I know you're not keeping around for the conversation, right? Like, I don't know why, and so that's a really good question.
They're not contributing much to the team.
They're not, and so the with Alonzo and Alex, I want to know why they fought so hard to keep them there.
This is the problem. It's because
it's just because they outnumber the other two. I think that's why, for numbers.
Okay, like that could be a strategy, of course, but you know, then you have to think about yourself, and you have to be kind of selfish in this game, because if you want to win and you want money at the end, why are you wasting all this money feeding two useless people?
Right, you're right.
You're paying to keep these people alive in the game, but what are they contributing? What are they paying you back with? Nothing. They're just the bodies. They're there, doing nothing. Taking up space in the tent.
Well, and so let's go to the tent. So we get there to that. They get to the camp, and they went to go, I don't know, wash up or whatever, and Makani takes the tent.
That was petty, but I probably would have done the same thing.
I would have done it. 110% I would have done it. And it was so funny because I got so hot when I was watching it. And when Alonzo and Alex came over, and she's sitting in it, and they're like, who told you? And like they got all up in her face, and I was like,
they can't touch
her.
They
can't touch her. And I got so heated because I was like, I would have lashed out verbally. Like, and she just, I told you, I'm telling you, I'm taking the tent. And like, she really ended up, she got her way. She ended up forcing them to need to buy another tent. Mm-hmm. However, again, the hypocrisy of this all is so unreal to me, because as soon as they don't have a tent, they lose it, dude. They lost it. It rained one night.
And it's kind of,
and then it's like you see them like not barely even being able to survive rain, and then you see Cody like with his man-made shelter, fine, and it's just, it's unreal to me. And then they're like, you know, how dare her? It's our tent. It's this and this, and like bottom line, that's all we heard throughout the whole thing. Like, we don't need to give you food because it's our food. We're not really stealing your peanut butter because it's our peanut butter. Like, what?
It's a double standard.
It's not. And it's only when it serves them. And that's so frustrating to me. It's so frustrating to me.
As much as I'm not rooting for Cody, kind of bothers me that they're sitting and complaining because they have to be outside one night when Makani and Cody were able to make it work for multiple nights.
And not complain.
They were just being resourceful.
Right.
But you have
These people are lazy.
They're not resourceful.
No.
They're wasting money buying all this crap to make it comfy. There's nothing comfy about surviving in the middle of the jungle.
No.
That's not cozy.
But they resort to the fact that they can't do it. They can't do it. They can't do anything.
Right.
What are they doing? What have they done? How have they grown other than learn how to start a fire? Because they're not analytical. They're not able to make a plan, really.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't able to provide shelter for themselves without buying it.
And that should be the number one.
They're only buying food as well. They have no aptitude for handling money. I mean, it's just... I feel like I'm watching a bunch of 12-year-olds doing this just because I don't think they really grasp the concept of how much money they've spent.
I would be adding every single thing up. Keeping tabs on it all.
It's a lot. It's a lot
but
of money.
my question to you is, so did Makani's, was that her strategy to get them to get a new tent because she knew that they had the numbers to do so?
I think what she wanted, I think that was the second best case. I think what she wanted is for them to see how it was like without the tent and then be like, okay, we'll switch on and off. But she's also working with people who are very bullheaded and very stubborn in their own, set in their very own ways. So it's like, everyone's stubborn really out there. All those people have stubborn personalities. So I think that, no, she didn't really want to have them spend more money on a tent. However, if that's what it takes, like, she knows she's getting worn down too. So.
Right. And of course, if she and Cody were like, hey guys, let's buy a tent. Right. They don't need a new tent and they have the numbers. So this is really the only way to get man-made shelter.
And then also too, like with Gina saying that they don't deserve like the burger and the sandwich. She's like, they don't deserve it. They already have a tent.
But why do you deserve it? You've had a tent this whole entire time.
They don't deserve it. They already have a tent. They just took your tent. So I'm confused because they're not actually even taking, like, you took from them because some of their money went into it. So like if someone and I'm very much, I get angry when things aren't fair monetarily. Like if I feel like I'm being cheated out of money in any way, I'm not cool with it. It doesn't sit well with me. So if I know that some of my money went into something and I'm not seeing any outcome of it, but I see other people benefiting from it, you bet your ass I'm going to lose it. So I'm still, bottom line is, I think that whether or not you vote, see, the game isn't what happens after you get the supplies or whatever. I mean, that adds to it. However, if you vote for it and you get it, cool. If you don't vote for it and you get it, you still lost money. So you're still losing. You're still losing something. So that doesn't mean that you shouldn't get to eat the food that was overpowered by, the group.
I mean, at this point, every decision is going to be overpowered. So does that mean that two people do not get to benefit from any decision that the four of them make?
Right, when it's still their money.
What does it take?
Right.
Do they all, even if they said, okay, would they still allow them to benefit from it? You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's like now, and we see Cody with this. He didn't really meddle in that whole situation with Makani in the tent.
Yeah, he let it play out.
Again, he's, is he...
Because he's a snake.
But that wasn't, as a friend, no. As a friend, no, that wasn't like a cool thing to do, to not really stand up for Makani. But his strategy, again, I have to give it to him. He's... I'm gonna step away here and like just let this play out.
Because now she can look bad and
like
off of me.
He really is playing the game.
I know, but I knew that from the minute he approached Makani in the stream.
Right.
He had a plan. He didn't want to be her friend.
No.
He just needed an alliance, and now he's using this alliance to his benefit. Which is how you play the game.
Right. And so, I don't like a lot of the things, or not even the things he does. I don't like the way his attitude comes across sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's like we have very much extremes. Like these people are just wanting to be friends and like get the experience or whatever, and he's just very much to play the game. And so there really isn't a middle area right now. And I think that's kind of cool too to see the contrast of it.
Yeah.
However, I'm interested to see how it progresses with Cody and the other group members as well, because now that they both have tents, you know, Cody obviously is going to go back to Makani and they're going to be in their little group. I don't know. I'm confused at how we're going to lose another person if
Everyone's
they just
so
keep spending
comfortable.
money on
Right.
food, you know? It's confusing to me.
I wonder if there's going to be a minute or like a moment when the larger team starts coming to perspective for them. Because when
Right.
is it? What is the boundary? When
Probably
is
when they spend
too much
$500,000.
money? When half of it's gone?
Yeah. Because here's the other thing. And now I think it's almost a revenge tactic to spend
No,
money.
it is.
It's not like, oh, I really need this. It's
They're
like,
being
fuck
petty.
you. Like, you spent money and you didn't share it with me. Just like when they went and got the Temptation.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, we're going to get the $15,000 Temptation. Sitting in the comfort of my home watching it, I would say, no, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But when
they didn't eat.
when they hadn't eaten and they watched two other people like eat a burger and a sandwich and they're not being shared with, and then their peanut butter, you know, whatever, that was after. But
Yeah.
I might say, screw you, I'm gonna spend $15,000 because you just spent.
But at the same
all of that
time, it's
too. But then
hypocritical.
it's hurting everybody.
Yeah, because
Right.
you're getting mad that they spent so much money, but is the solution to spend more money?
Right.
No, because you're losing even
And then
more.
they're just gonna spend money to get back at you for getting
It's
that.
a vicious cycle.
Right. So I don't know how really to end that. I'm not sure what
There has to be a moment where
is
enough
going to
is
happen.
enough. I think something has to break up that larger team. First of all, Alonzo is going to go home. He said it more than one time, and like we said in the last episode,
Right.
when you can sense when somebody's weak, and if they're contemplating it at one point, you know, eventually it's
Well,
going
and
to pull
Alex really
through.
really wanted him to stay and was trying to talk him into staying, which is the first time we've seen anyone be like, hey, I really think you need to like tough it out.
But why though?
I think the only reason Alex is doing that is
because he knows the other two are weak.
they're worthless and
Yeah.
he needs a buddy for these other challenges or he's screwed.
Right.
He's not going to ever get anything. Plus, like, then what? Then it's just Cody and Alex as men. Like, how funny is that there's
The two alpha males.
right, and then like there's equal amount of women and men right now, but if he went home, you know, there'd be more women left. I'm just confused. I'm really this game is interesting because there really is no way to tell how you can win, because you have people that have no sense of anything still
Right.
there, and you have people who are really like outdoorsy and determined, and so it's confusing to me.
Well, now what I'd like to see is these challenges, they need to be individual challenges, because
Right.
when you keep teaming up with people,
Or they
things
need
are
to
too
make the teams.
comfortable.
Like, I want them to make the teams.
Yeah.
And see some fighting. And I feel like we're going to see some fighting to come. But what would you have done with the peanut butter situation? Like, what do you
If
think?
it was stolen from me or if I stole it.
If it was stolen from you.
Um,
Like, the self-control level there was unreal to me. To not say anything.
exactly. But why was it to their benefit to not say anything?
Cody just said, I'm going to remember it for
Oh.
when we can overpower them. And, like, I'm going to remember it and I will bring it up, you know, at the right time. Which
I probably would have brought it up.
I would
right
have
then and
brought
there.
it up.
Because I like to be smart, and I would have
Right.
said, I zip my tent a certain way, and I
Right.
noticed that it's
Okay,
incorrect.
can we talk about that though? When they were over analyzing the point of the way he zipped the tent and everything, it's like, don't you think they're gonna notice when they open the jar of peanut butter, regardless of
scoop
if you
is missing.
zip the tent or
Yeah.
not? Like, and she's like literally licking the peanut butter off the whatever she was licking it off of, the stick or the knife or whatever, when Cody walked over, and it's just like you almost can't. It's almost like that you can't fight with stupid. You just can't.
Right.
You can't fight with someone who really doesn't understand
Well, because you know they're
what
wrong,
you're fighting
and
about.
they're never going to see your perspective of it.
Right.
So I guess revenge would be the best policy in this case.
I would have lost it.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been pissed.
I probably would have been kicked off the game by now
That's what I'm saying. And even
for being physical.
I was thinking
No
that
joke.
when Makani was in the
Yes.
tent,
Yeah.
if that was my tent and someone was sitting in there and I truly thought, not that it was right that she
No,
didn't
but if-
belong in there,
in your
but if I
mindset,
thought
right.
she didn't belong in there,
Right.
I would have got in the damn
I would have
tent
whipped her around,
and
yeah.
took her by the hair
Yeah.
and been like, get the
So
out
that's
of my
what's-
tent.
That's what's interesting to me about this show versus the other MTV shows. Because the other MTV shows, like, they all get drunk, they all get physical, they
Yeah.
all, you know, things happen. Like, producers have to break stuff up. So why are they so controlled? Are we ever going to see something where it's not controlled, where there needs to be something
there
broken
has
up?
to
Like,
be a
I don't
breaking
know.
point. There has to be like I keep on
And
saying,
I thought we were gonna see it with Makani and Elish. Like, I really did when she was talking about her
because
family.
now those two are just fighting to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a low blow for Makani to say something, but I think Eilish took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
She made it out to be something that it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was not necessary to snap that severely over one little comment that
Right.
turned into such
Can
a
we
bigger
also?
comment.
Did you watch after the show how it on if you watch it online, it will show you like other clips and stuff.
I didn't see.
So there's this other clip of that episode, just showing like, you know, more footage. And Alonzo was laying his head.
Oh, that was
on-
in the show.
Was it too
On
on her
Eilish's
stomach?
I
And
thought about that.
That was the first amount of sexual like drama that I think I've seen on the show because she's married.
Yeah, that's what I was
So, like,
saying.
how
I thought
would-
it was too comfortable.
Right? And I'm
And-
not saying anything happened. I'm just saying if I was at home watching my husband lay on some other girl's stomach on live or like on not live but on national television, like I would lose it.
And to the same point,
And giggling like that and they're all sleeping together in a tent, like I don't know.
But to the same point, Makani and Cody are now, I mean, they've always been staying together, but now they're in a tent together. I don't know. I feel like they may have hooked up. Do you think, I wonder if we're going to see anybody hook up on this show.
I want to. Like I don't want to see people hook up, but like I want to see like if someone did, I want to know.
I wonder if we're
But
going
I
to
think
know.
did he have to was Cody with this because Cody has a girlfriend too.
Yeah.
Was he with her before?
I don't know.
I know that doesn't mean
but when you're
anything,
in
but yeah.
the, you know, emotions are so heavy and strong. They have an alliance. They're sleeping next to each other. You know, now they have soap.
They have soap now. Now they
can
don't smell
clean
bad.
themselves.
Yeah, I don't know. I would like to because when we asked her, she was very. I sipped my tea. I
Yeah.
remember that. So I was like, I wonder what actually happened, and I would like to know because I think that would be add a little bit more mystery, or less mystery, I guess, and more like fun to the show. Because I feel like the show still, I feel like it's still lacking a little bit of that MTV drama you expect.
Exactly.
I don't know.
It needs to be spiced up a little.
Yeah.
It's not as entertaining as I'd like it to
I
be.
feel
at
like
this
I
point.
feel like the plot continues to be very similar. Like they are mad at them for
It's
spending money.
consistent.
They're mad at them because they don't want to. Like it's just it's
what
the
we need to
same
do
thing.
is we need to
a
break
new
up
level.
these teams.
Yeah.
We need things need to get individual.
I agree.
Because that's when stuff starts getting real. But that other team, like they're just, it's what are you doing? What are you doing? You know, even though I like them better than the other two,
But I think maybe and this is where it's hard. It's hard to decipher, you know, between someone's not necessarily their character, but they have a role to play in this, and I don't like the way they're playing the role. That doesn't mean that I'm sure they're great outside of it, but I don't like them as a team
In the
watching this
game.
game at all.
I agree.
So next week though, it looked like it was about to get rowdy in the previews. There's a lot of yelling and screaming, and I think tensions are going to start breaking. I think that people are going to start being like a little more malnourished. And I think that people are going to start freaking out about how little money they actually have right now because again, I don't think anyone's taking into consideration taxes. I sound like my mom. But
at a
certain things that
yeah.
pull a huge amount out, like even now, like, you know, when you start a job, it's like, oh, like this sounds great. Like this is so much money. And then you're like, and Uncle Sam takes
Yeah.
30% of it, like, you know, and then it really like brings you back to reality. So I don't know. I don't think they're being adults about it.
Honestly, if it got to a point where they were spending money so outrageously, I would just pull the gun, because it's not worth it to me to get all the way to the end in 40
and have
days
no money
and have like a couple thousand. I probably could have been making that on my own in the meantime.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I mean, maybe not to that extreme, but it just wouldn't be worth it to me.
It's frustrating, and it's frustrating to see that you have a few people there who don't want to do that, but I just don't feel like the girls care either way.
But if you don't want to play the game, then get out.
Right. And I think that conversation needs to be had.
And when it comes to the point where you're worried about even though it's your alliance, Gina's on their team, but they're vocally saying that they're worried about her in the journey. They don't know if she's
and when she made it, they're like, "Good job, Gina."
But it's like, you're a weak link.
Right.
If you're not going to make it,
she's not your child.
No, it's not your responsibility to make. I mean, yeah, because you want the money, you want her to make it. But if you're vocally saying that you know that she's weak and that she's incapable of doing all this herself, then what are you doing with her? She's not a benefit to you. She's a burden to you.
100%. And I think I'm thinking in the next episode, they're probably going to start maybe noticing that certain people are more of a burden. I hope. I don't know. I think that as far as the challenges, I would think Makani and Cody are going to dominate continuously if they get the chance to.
But now I'm thinking, once one person is gone, how are these alliances going to play out? Because it's constantly going to be 2 versus 2, no? Is it? No, now it's 4.
3 versus 2.
3 versus 2. So that would still be, I mean, Alonzo's going to leave. I know he's going to leave.
Do you think he's going to be the next one to leave?
Yeah.
You think he will?
Gina or Ailish, they're not saying that they want to go home, really.
Right. They're just chilling.
He's the only one that's really stressed about it.
Right.
Will one of them eventually go home? Of course. Yeah. But not yet.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to go home yet.
We need to have it, once it's a 2-on-2, that's when shit's going to start to get real.
Yeah.
But as long as it's uneven like this, it's just like,
I know. I'm really upset that Chris went home.
Yeah.
I wish he would have stayed. But you know what, though? They still got their way. Even though they only had 2 people. So
because they have a strategy.
They have to keep that up. They have to keep up that strategy. But I don't know. I'm excited for next week. I think it's going to actually start bringing drama. I think the more, obviously with any show, the farther you get into it, the more you know the characters, the more you kind of start seeing their relationships collide and build. But I don't know. I think that either Gina or Alonso is going to be the next one to go.
I agree.
I would think that Alex, I think at some point, you can tell he's starting to get, wow, Abby talk. He's starting to get a little neurotic when certain things don't go his way.
Yeah.
I think he's used to being
the leader.
one of the more intelligent people in the room.
Yeah.
And not saying that he's not intelligent. I'm just saying that people aren't listening to him. I think sometimes he could maybe just speak and then people automatically want to listen to him because of the way he is poised and talks to people, but that's not working now. So I think he doesn't really know what to do because he's not really a brute. He's not an aggressive person. So I honestly think he's going to snap at some point and have a meltdown.
And maybe a fist fight. I hope a fist fight.
I don't know. I don't see him fighting. Do you see him fighting? I see him going, ah! And like having like a temper tantrum. Not because he's a child, but because he's not an aggressive man.
Because he's not getting his way.
That and like, yeah, I think he's frustrated because it's like, what do you do when you can't make people see your way? And then also you can't make your way happen. You know, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's used to that.
Well, that's when the drama kicks in.
I know. Any other predictions?
No, I think that, I don't know. I want to see Makani and Cody do their own thing.
Well, they said they're going to, what do you mean by do their own thing?
Individually do their own thing.
Oh, except like by themselves?
Yeah, because the second he doesn't need her, he's going to cut her loose. So I'm just waiting for that
because
moment
at the
happen.
end, if they're like the last 2 standing, do you think he would just maybe help her get to the finish line too? Or do you think he's going to do something malicious?
No, malicious. You can already tell his intentions, especially from this episode.
But I don't think that, based on the way she talked about him when she was here, I don't think he did anything malicious.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. I'm trying to like take some context clues.
They probably ended up at the end together. Honestly, I don't see anyone from that foursome making it to the end.
Maybe Alex.
You think? He'll probably be the last of all of them.
Yeah. I just don't
but
think.
I'm not sure if he'll make it all
I think
the way.
that it really, they need to turn up the heat and make it a little bit more aggressive than
They
just
do.
like
It's too comfortable right now.
Yeah, definitely. So hopefully next week it'll get more aggressive, both with the people and with the environment. But yeah, guys, we would love to hear what you have to think about everything. And we are missing Jesse today. Jesse will be back next week. And we have a special guest next week for you guys and the following week. So make sure that you stay tuned. And you can follow me on all social media at Abigail Fraher.
And I'm Olivia Gabaree. Hit me up at The Real OG.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.